Hi, and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Kimberly Ray, a dating and relationship coach on a mission to help you break out of undefined, non-committal dynamics and get you into your most aligned relationship. Today, I'm going to break down exactly how to shift the power dynamic in a situationship so you can feel in control of your love life again. It's time to stop following someone else and start leading. And you're going to learn how to do that in 4 steps. I've been in situationships before, so I know how you can really lose yourself in the process of trying to get clarity from the other person. The ambiguity really keeps us stuck, and I'll look back even and be like, who was that? And how did I let myself get to that point where I'm afraid to speak up and I'm walking on eggshells? That wasn't me. So I know how easy it is to slip into that dynamic, but there's absolutely a way out. So stick around for a lot of juicy information today that will get you moving in a completely new direction. Okay, so by now you probably know that what you're in isn't quite a relationship, but it's definitely more than casual. You've caught feelings, there's intimacy, there's some consistency. But there's also confusion, a shit ton of confusion. And maybe you tell yourself you're fine with it, that you're just gonna give it more time, you're just gonna go with the flow. But deep down, you're craving something more. You find yourself reading into everything they say and do, what their energy shift means, what you're my favorite person to talk to means, what introducing you to their friends but then not talking to you for a week means. You're clocked into every little detail. And then one day it hits you. You're not in control anymore. You're reacting to them. You're operating carefully because you don't want to push them away. You match their energy and you let them set the pace. You're trying to guide things towards growth and you're met with resistance, which leaves you feeling helpless and frustrated. You didn't mean to give your power away, but it happened so slowly, one little compromise at a time. And now you're wondering how to get it back. Let's start with the psychology. Most people don't lose power in a situationship because they're weak or naive or stupid or anything else that you want to tell yourself. They lose it because they're emotionally invested without emotional safety. That combination, vulnerability without security, creates imbalance. You open your heart to someone who hasn't opened theirs at the same depth. You start giving without knowing if it's being matched. And at first, it might feel mutual. You're talking all the time, you're sharing things, you're laughing, you're connecting, you're seeing each other somewhat consistently, so it's easy to think you're building something real. But somewhere along the way, you start noticing the imbalance. You're the one initiating more. You're the one wondering where it's going. You're the one hoping for clarity while they're comfortably vague. And obviously there's a complete breakdown in communication. But that's really where the dynamic shifts, because the person who needs clarity the most is usually the one with the least control over it. And it's not that they're more confident or they're more desirable. It's that you're now operating from fear. Fear of losing the connection, fear of pushing too hard, fear of confirming what you already suspect, that you want more than they do. So you start adjusting. You talk yourself out of your standards. You convince yourself to be chill, to be patient. You stop bringing up what you need because you don't want to scare them off. You're operating in a careful, calculated way because you're wanting a specific outcome. You're in this cycle of highs and lows. When they're present, you feel euphoric, validated, chosen, wanted. But when they pull away, you spiral, you overthink, you replay conversations, you wonder what changed. And that emotional whiplash creates a psychological tether, something called intermittent reinforcement, the same addictive pattern used in gambling. You keep hoping the next high will make the low worth it. So why do we hesitate to have the clarity conversation? Because clarity threatens comfort. Once you state what you really want, you risk hearing the truth that you don't want to hear. You risk the fantasy collapsing. And so you wait, hoping that they'll bring it up first. But avoidance is the soil where confusion grows. You can't create alignment through silence. The moment you start waiting for someone else to define your worth or your future, you've already lost your leverage. Because power in dating doesn't come from convincing someone to choose you. It comes from remembering that you get to do the choosing too. So how do you get your power back? Step 1. Get extremely clear about what a strong, compatible match is for you. What do you really need in a partner based on what you know about yourself? Try to put this person to the side for a moment and really see what qualities you need. What type of communication and consistency do you need? How do you imagine communicating with your future partner? What are you doing together? What's their personality like? But again, really try to separate your current connection from this brainstorming, because it's really easy to slot them in since you're already emotionally invested. And truthfully, they might not even be the best match for you. Are you even that compatible? Are they even capable of the type of communication and engagement you need on a consistent basis? Or have you been hoping that they can get there without consistent evidence of it? Okay, that brings us to step 2. You are going to get extremely clear of who this person is and take those rose-colored glasses off. Yes, you have chemistry. You're wrapped up in the drama of it all. Will you hear them today? What are they thinking? Are you going to have a breakthrough with them this weekend? You're on the roller coaster and you've already invested time and energy, so it's easy to feel like you need to see it through. You have an end goal here. But are they that great? This is the part with my clients where we start laughing a little bit, because we're like, maybe we've made them great in our heads. Like it was our curiosity and our vision all along. So I want you to get out a piece of paper and draw a line down the center. On one side, write what I appreciate about them. And on the other side, write what I hope for. And start making your list. Really evaluate them at face value and see what they've brought to the table consistently. That's the key word, okay? Consistently. Not just at the beginning when it's easy and fun, but after a few weeks or months, because what you've been seeing is them. Like this is what will continue in a relationship. Their behavior actually won't look that different than what you've been seeing now. They won't all of a sudden become sweeter or start giving 101%. It will look pretty much like this. And that can be an underwhelming realization. Overall, this is what I call stepping into the chooser mindset. You acknowledge that you're not just trying to be chosen, but you have a choice. You shift from do they like me to do I even like the way I feel around them? Do they even fit what I need in a partnership? Are they just the person your brain is focused on because they've caused the most mind drama recently and you've placed a lot of value on them reciprocating the same amount of interest in the future, right? Like, ask yourself these questions. And it might be a bit of an ego thing too, wanting them to want you as much as you want them. So we need to get back into that chooser role, okay? The third step is stepping out of confusion completely and getting the clarity you need. You cannot step into your most empowered state while keeping quiet and keeping things comfortable. You need to address the elephant in the room. And it's not by asking them, so what are we? We are not telling them to define what this is. We're no longer following their lead and keeping things easy. We are stepping into the driver's seat, which means setting the tone. You can say, I've been enjoying spending time with you. I like where this could go. I'm at a place in my life where I want to date intentionally towards commitment. Where are you at? Or you can say something like, we haven't talked about us and where this is headed. I'm ready to build towards something more serious, but I have no idea how you've been thinking about our connection. So let's talk about it because I don't want to be in limbo. The most important thing is that you define what you want, and then you see if they can meet you there. Many people in situationships fall into people-pleasing mode. You start anticipating their reactions, cushioning your words, avoiding anything that might create tension. But your job isn't to make them comfortable with your standards. Your job is to stand in them calmly and confidently. The moment you start contorting yourself to be easier to love, you lose the very magnetism that made you attractive in the first place. Because the most magnetic energy in the world is self-possession. It's being anchored in who you are and what you deserve. The fourth step is raising the price of admission. Most people think boundaries are about keeping others out, like blocking them out. But boundaries are actually about protecting your energy. So ask yourself, what does someone need to demonstrate to earn more access to me? Is it consistency, communication, effort? Whatever it is, enforce it quietly. You don't need to keep announcing your standards. You need to live them. Okay, show them what your standards are by how you respond. Respond appropriately. So when someone senses that you value yourself, the dynamic shifts immediately. Like that's really when it starts to shift. So now you've told them what you want. See if they can rise to meet you. And while doing so, you self-regulate emotionally so that you are so grounded that you don't need to chase if they start to pull away. You don't need to do anything. The true foundation of power in any dynamic, especially romantic ones, is emotional regulation. The person who can self-soothe without needing immediate reassurance holds the upper hand because they're not reacting, they're responding. And there's a big difference there. So let's say they start pulling away. You feel that familiar anxiety rise, the urge to text, to ask what's wrong, to reestablish connection in some way. That's the moment where power shifts. You can pause, breathe, and sit with that discomfort without acting on it. And you start to retrain your nervous system. So you want to be grounded enough that someone else's inconsistency doesn't pull you out of alignment. The more regulated you are, the less reactive you become. It allows you to have the space to observe and continue to evaluate. And at some point, the most powerful move in any situationship, if they're not rising to meet you, is to walk away. Not as a strategy to get them to chase you, but as an act of self-alignment. Walking away isn't about punishment, it's about peace. It's saying, I won't stay in dynamics that require me to silence myself to be chosen. When you walk away, you're not just setting a boundary with them, you're setting one with yourself. You're declaring that your emotional needs are valid, that your time is valuable, and that you won't settle for half love. That kind of energy is so freaking magnetic because when you finally stop fearing loss, you become impossible to manipulate. When you stop chasing, the power dynamic flips because people feel it when your energy shifts from desperation to discernment. When they rise to meet you or they fade away, you win either way because you're no longer negotiating your worth. Most people think power in dating comes from being the one who's most desired. But real power comes from being the one who decides. You decide whether the dynamic aligns with your values. You decide whether their behavior earns continued access to you. You decide whether to keep investing or to walk away completely. Because at its core, empowerment isn't about controlling someone else's behavior. And we have no control anyways, right? It's about controlling your response to it. You can't force someone to step up, but you can stop stepping down to meet them. So if you're in a situationship right now, here's what I want you to know. You don't have to prove your worth commitment. You don't have to prove anything. You only have to stop entertaining what doesn't meet your standard. When you shift your focus from being liked to being the chooser, everything changes. So stop waiting for them to decide. Decide for yourself. Decide that you're done with half effort, done with mixed signals, done with hoping someone will wake up and realize your value because you've hopefully already realized it. And I promise you, on the other side of that is a beautiful, healthy, aligned relationship with the person you are meant to be with, whether that's this person or someone new completely. I'm forever thankful that I found the courage to step back into my power while dating because that is exactly what led me to dating my husband. Thanks for watching today. Make sure you subscribe so you never miss a new video. I'm excited to put more videos that will help you attract commitment out there. So send this to a friend that is also struggling with this, and I want you to comment below which part of the video resonated with you the most.